leadership करेंगे. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm grateful to the leadership of UKPNP Sajid Hussain Kashmiri Saab, which has taken a timely initiative to discuss the recent Chinese intrusion in Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir with very diverse and distinguished panel. When we discuss the current scenario and standoff in Ladakh, this is very important to know the Chinese policy towards Jammu and Kashmir. Over the past 7 decades, China has had an inconsistent policy on Jammu and Kashmir, changing its position depending on its own interests, while maintaining a fine balance between the reapproachment with Pakistan and India. China has also used the issue to make inroads to India via Pakistani-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Indeed, China-Kashmir policy has allowed it to steadily find its way to India's western and northern borders and in Ladakh and into region power politics. This evening, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about to find a common thread between the ambiguous Chinese position on Jammu and towards Jammu and Kashmir. Yet over the years, there are countries that have used the Kashmir issue for their own interest. China, for one, has not had a concrete policy on the question of Jammu and Kashmir, choosing instead of capitalize on the issue of its own agenda and its exponential design in the South Asian region. Despite the inconsistencies, however, Beijing policy has historically been inclined towards Pakistan. This has become clearer over the time, despite China vacillation as well as its categorical strategies showing J&K part of either India or Pakistan or else as an independent territory. In the early 50s, China has a neutral stance regarding Jammu and Kashmir conflict. By saying that the Kashmir question is an outstanding question between the two nations, and we hope that it will be settled satisfactorily. There is no dispute between the countries that cannot be settled. That was the China's Kashmir policy in 1950s. In 57, China announced the completion of road across Aksai Chin. And that was the time when the friction has been started between India and China. In 1960s, China began building pressure in India in Ladakh border, deploying personnel in People's Liberation Army on the area, and eventually leads to a clash with Indian security forces. At the same time, China started to advocate war on behalf of Kashmir right of self-determination, stopping short of calling of its war of national liberation, and echoing Pakistan's position that it was for the people of Kashmir to decide which nation to be part of. In July 16, at that time, therefore, China's position was that it had no claim on Kashmir. The 1962 war with China led to a gaining control of seizable land mass in Leh and Ladakh in Jammu and Kashmir. At that point, it became a stakeholder in Kashmir issue. A year later, China-Pakistan border treaty of March 1963, which transferred the Shakzam Valley just northwest of the Siachen Glacier to China, allowed it to enter POK and establish direct access to Afghanistan and come close to the Indian western and northern borders. China also broadened its covert assistance to Pakistan missile program and military modernization. China called for international intervention to resolve the Kashmir issue, also continued during the Kargil War conflict in 1999. China has begun by issuing stapling visas to Kashmiris. This showed a radical shift in China's Kashmir policy by showing that China acknowledged Kashmir as a disputed territory. But this facility has given to the people of Jammu Kashmir, which were living under the occupation of but this facility has not given to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, which was living under the occupation of Pakistan. It is specific for the valley people or the people who are living under the Indian administration. After all the back and forth on the Kashmir issue, China's true invention have become now cleared. The PLA, Indian People's Liberation Army, was intended on to establish a foothold in POK to control the region militarily and diplomatically. nearly 11,000 Chinese military troops were deployed to POK, suggesting that Pakistan has given a de facto control to the China territory to China. Rejecting the media reports about the military presence, Beijing described Gilgit-Baltistan as a northern Pakistan. So another reports that following describing the presence of some 7,000 non-combat soldiers in POK, comprising construction, communication, and engineering units of People's Liberation Army. So in 2012, there are speculation about the Pakistan leasing the region of Gilgit-Baltistan in POK to China for 50 years. While these speculations have been refuted by both countries, the possibility cannot be ruled out entirely, especially in the light of massive investment Beijing has committed to CPEC. Reports have already emerged of the Pakistan government leasing out land in Gilgit to China for construction of projects under CPEC and providing military security cover to them. Indeed, CPEC is central to the hegemonic pursuit of China in South Asia. The section of POK for developing strategic importance, CPEC yields multidimensional advantages that go behind the obvious economic interest. In other words, CPEC will go China access to the Arabian Sea and develop an alternate route for its critical energy imports and other resources and acquire yet another gateway to Afghanistan. Even as China and Pakistan do not share land borders, their military and diplomatic collision against India and China on geopolitical priorities in the region have brought them together in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. With its presence in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, China is safeguarding its political and strategic interests as well as those of Pakistan. Adopting an approach that does not involve conquering territories through military campaign, China, through a strategic partnership with Pakistan, is investing billions of dollars to expand the Karakoram Highway and build mega transport infrastructure, oil, gas, and pipelines, railway lines, and feeders roads to POK. The infrastructure project have helped China consolidate its control over POK and strategic Shagzam Valley to tie India down in region. The China road network through Shagzam Valley, which also connect to Karakoram Highway with the Tibet Highway, led to the encirclement of J&K 3 sides. While the feeder roads connect crucially military complex based in China and Pakistan, Gilgit provides the natural cover to military facilities like missile bases and tunnels, enhancing their giant capacity. However, following the restriction of J&K and can expect China to continue with catastrophic aggression and strengthen its military posturing inside the Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh and other areas. Now I'm going to give an introduction about the China's dual policy on terrorism. Beijing detaining thousands of Uyghur Muslims under the pretext of counter-terrorism operations. China is only permanent nation of United Nations Security Council that has preferred to take non-committal position on the issue of cross-border terrorism. Beijing came out in direct support of Islamabad. In case of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar in United Nations Security Council 1267 sanctioned committee. However, China close ties with Jaish-e-Mohammed and other Pakistan-supported terror outfits which safeguard its economic and geographic interest in POK. China is therefore likely to continue to use the terror groups within the POK to keep India busy along the LOC and inside the Kashmir Valley. The presence of Chinese PLA within the illegally occupied territories of POK and its northern and side Chin and to northwest further deteriorated the situation, which may create threat to the peace in South Asian region. There are two scenarios likely emerge from the recent development. First, by amending the constitution, the possibility of Pakistan formerly annexed Gilgit-Baltistan as its fifth province. This area is located at the extreme north of POK and currently treated as a separate geographically territory of Pakistan. The move would establish a firm grip of Pakistan state over the territory and embolden China to officially move the PLA into the area, mean People's Liberation Army. The second scenario is China may move the officially annex the Shagzam Valley under the 1963 border agreement with Pakistan. China agreed that the said area is to be traded depending on the result of settlement. New Delhi and Islamabad reach on the Kashmir issue. However, in the light of the recent move by India, the abrogation of Article 370, the formal annexation of Shagzam Valley by China cannot be ruled out. In Gilgit-Baltistan and Azad Kashmir, non-local authorities have been appointed for administration right from 1947. State subject rule have been abrogated and overruled. Non-subject people from across Pakistan are settling in Gilgit-Baltistan and Azad Kashmir. Pakistan is trying to change the demography of Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. We all want the Pakistan government must fulfill its promise of setting up local authority in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan according to UNSIP resolutions. State subject rule must be implemented in Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The interim constitution of AJK has placed several restrictions on anyone criticizing AJK accession to Pakistan in contravention and international standards on the right of freedom of expression and opinion, assembly and association. Is explicitly states no person or political party in Azad Jammu and Kashmir shall be permitted to propagate against it, to take part in activities prejudicial or detrimental to the ideology of the state accession to Pakistan. The AJK electoral laws expand on this and disqualifying any running for the elected office for propagating any opinion or acting contrary to the ideology of the state accession to Pakistan. No person can be appointed as a government position until they take an oath of office, which includes that they will remain loyal to the country and the cause of accession of state of Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan. At the implementation level, virtually all key officers of the AJK government are second from Pakistan, including Chief Secretary, the Inspector General of Police, the Finance Secretary, the Home Secretary, the Health Secretary, and the Accountant General, Auditor General, and the Chief Election Commission. They not only exercise the real authority within AJK, but also maintain a check on AJK elected government. The government at Muzaffarabad remained virtually entirely under the control of government of Pakistan. Pakistan is looking quite happy and beating drums in favor of China on recent Chinese intrusion in Ladakh, Jammu and Kashmir, instead of giving rights to the people of Pakistani occupied Kashmir, including Gilgit-Baltistan. The United Kashmir People's National Party strongly opposed and rejected the proposed 14th amendment in the interim constitution 1974 of Azad Jammu and Kashmir by the government of Pakistan. The nefarious design to curtail fundamental freedom, exploitation of natural resources, and all these moves are against international law and UN resolution on Kashmir. Our demand is Pakistan must respect and restore the fundamental freedoms and constitutional rights of the people of so-called Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. We strongly condemned and opposed the recent invasion and aggression of China in Galwan Valley in Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir, and demand that China must withdraw its troops and civilians who came in the name of mega projects and enter in Jammu and Kashmir, and must withdraw all the forces from whole Jammu and Kashmir, including Ladakh, Azad Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan. Thank you, Nasab.